I'm a hair mineral analysis expert. I have a background in functional medicine, and I educate people using HTMA testing to maximize health, erase debilitating symptoms, and gain energy. I'm a multi-time kettlebell sport world champion, and I'm constantly searching for high-performance pros from all over the world to bring you this human optimization podcast. My name is Lisa Pitel-Killah. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. And our guest today, I'm so excited. She's here, Brittany Fuisz, and she's the founder and CEO of Malibu Mylk. If you haven't heard of it, you're going to learn all about it today. So let me tell you a little bit about Brittany. So she's the CEO and founder, of course, of Malibu Mylk, a sustainable allergen-free alternative milk, which everybody needs nowadays, don't they? She attained a degree in marketing and management from Georgetown University and then a diploma from the Cordon Bleu. She began her career with Hillstone Restaurant Group in their manager training program and spent time working on the line at 3 Michelin star Bernardin in New York City, as well as the Food Network in new business development. How exciting. I'm so happy to have a conversation with you today because you have many great things to share.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Oh, good. Well, so tell us, we have a very diverse audience here listening and watching. And so tell us about your journey, tell us about yourself, and then bring us up to speed on how Malibu Mylk came into the picture.
Yeah. So it really was a personal journey. I was trying to get pregnant and it was taking longer than I would have liked, which happens, I think, more often than not lately. Yeah. And I went to see a fertility doctor here in LA, and she recommended I go on an autoimmune protocol, otherwise known as an elimination diet. Yeah. I had to eliminate all major allergens: dairy, nuts, gluten, soy, eggs. You can imagine when you've eliminated dairy, nuts, and soy, you've wiped out most milk options.
Right.
So I was feeling frustrated, and I was really hyper aware of the foods I was consuming. I wanted to include whole foods in my diet. I didn't want processed foods. I didn't want things that were loaded with oils or sugar. And the truth is, the few milks that are allergen-free, oat milk, pea milk, are full of oils, sugar. They set the body's glycemic index through the roof. Yeah. So I wanted to find a cleaner option. And I had this light bulb go off, and I thought, what if I make milk from flaxseed? I've always loved flaxseed. Yeah. I would add it to oatmeal or smoothies or baked goods, looking to get more fiber and omega-3s into my diet. So I went home, pulled out my blender, and because of my background, I have a pretty decent palate, and I started playing with a few really simple ingredients. And I was getting this incredibly creamy, milky drink. And I thought, wow, maybe there's other people who would benefit from an incredibly nutritious milk that also happens to be sustainable. Yeah. The only water required for the flax flower is natural rainfall. And when you compare that to, say, almond milk, almonds require a ton of water. 80% of the world's almonds are coming from the state of California, and they are using 10% of our state's water supply. Wow. It takes 20 gallons of water to make 1 glass of almond milk.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea. That is incredible.
I know. It's shocking.
It is shocking.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So more sustainable, less water. This is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so you have so let's talk a little bit about sustainability of products, because obviously you've touched on it. I think it's a really important thing nowadays, especially with what the world is going through. We're realizing now, just with regards to the earth and how it's changing and all these other things that are going on, that sustainability is really important. So tell us a little bit more just with regards to that aspect of that.
Yeah. So, most plant-based milks do require some sort of irrigation. Almonds require the most with the massive amount of water. Yeah. There's also a lot of waste in almond milk. So when you make almond milk, you're blending almonds with water. You actually strain all the almonds out. You're left with an almond flavored water. All of those rich almonds, those beautiful almonds with the protein and the vitamins, are thrown out. With the flax milk, we aren't throwing anything out. We're blending the whole ground organic flaxseed. We don't throw anything away. That's why you end up with naturally occurring protein, fiber, omega-3s in every single glass. Also, what's not used to make seeds from the flax flour, the rest of the flour is used to make linen clothing. So it's virtually a no waste plant. Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's something huge to think about, because I think that a lot of people don't realize that this is actually part of what's happening, right? They really don't understand the kind of the back end of when these things are being made, what exactly is left over, what's being disposed of, and then of course the things that we can use. So that's really important. And so let's get into with regards to your product, because of course, I mean, you created it when you were pregnant, right? You wanted it for yourself. And then of course it came into fruition. So, I mean, now you're a mom, right? You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, right? A founder and a wife. That's a lot to manage. Let's talk about that, because there's, I mean, you know, that this is very
my gosh,
relatable to every, how long
is your
have?
podcast?
Right?
Because it's really, really hard. I wish that I could pretend to sit here and say, oh, I've got it all figured out. And it's so wonderful running a business and being a wife and a mom and a friend and a daughter. And it is really hard, and it's almost impossible, and it's totally exhausting. And you know, there are really hard days and there are sleepless nights. And I have a 3-month-old who was sleeping really, really well. And then the last 2 nights is now getting up 3 times in the middle of the night. And so, you know, and I have to deal with it, and I have to deal with investors, and I have to deal with retailers and employees, and you know, a screaming 2-year-old who wants attention from his mommy. And it's, you know, hard. I don't know the answer. All I know is I am in it. I am in it every day, all day right now. And it is really exhausting. And it doesn't mean that I don't love all of it. I love being a mom. You know, it's looking at my children and, you know, my son, watching him kiss my daughter and having him come up behind me and give me a hug and kiss, and, you know, multiple times. That's all special and so worth it. And the business, you know, getting notes from customers who are saying, oh my God, this plant-based milk is everything. And it's exactly what I needed and what I was looking for. And it's so delicious and so great for our family and our environment. And that's it. It's all worth it. It's just, it is really, really hard. And I think people tend to look at others, right, because of social media or and there's not really an outlet to share, like, and I don't know that people would even want to see it, like how hard and how exhausting and how scary and overwhelming, and, you know, how, because that's the reality, right? Like this is not foolproof, and it's not, I haven't been purchased by some big conglomerate yet. So, you know, this is a constant struggle. It is a constant struggle and a constant balancing act. And it doesn't mean that there aren't great days. There are great days, but there are really hard days too. And that's just the reality.
Yeah. And you know what? You've hit the nail right on the head for entrepreneurship, because that is it, right? We're in it for the long run. We're in it because we love what we're doing. But it definitely is a really hard thing to do, because there are a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things going on and a lot of things to juggle. And so you obviously love your brand that you've built, because otherwise you wouldn't go through all of that. Right. So tell us just a little bit about how that's near and dear to your heart with regards to the brand that you're building.
Yeah. It's crazy because, you know, it is my first baby, and now I have real babies, obviously, but I created Malibu Mylk. It becomes a part of you. It's part of your identity. And that's scary, right? Because, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't last? What if 3 years from now, Malibu Mylk ceases to exist. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could happen.
We think about that. It's like,
You
what
know,
if,
it could happen,
yeah, it could.
especially with the
Yeah.
economic environment that we're going into now. Like
Of
it
course.
is possible.
Yeah.
And I need to remind myself that, like, I built Malibu Mylk. I love Malibu Mylk. I mean, I use Malibu Mylk every single day. I love Malibu Mylk. Malibu Mylk is not me. It is a part of me, but I am who I am without Malibu Mylk. And I
Right.
think as entrepreneurs, you need to remind yourself that, so that you can hold your head high and keep going, you know, no matter what happens. And you know, it's being an entrepreneur means, you know, no days off, right? Like there's, I haven't taken I did take my board stepped up this year when I had my baby girl, and I took about 4 weeks, and I really took a step back. I had an emergency C-section, and then I got COVID a week later.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so you can imagine that,
Wow.
you know, and I'm nursing a brand new baby, and my husband and my son had COVID. And so it was a brutal
Wow.
window. And
Yeah.
so my board did step in and let me take, you know, 3-4 weeks of a maternity leave, which was amazing. And I
Yeah.
know that there's a lot of other female founders where if they don't have a board, or they don't, you know, they don't have a team, they can't do that. So I am incredibly grateful for that time.
Yeah.
But in general, like, you know, I don't take vacation. I don't take days off. I'm working weekends, nights, etc. Like it's, that's what you do when you have this extension of yourself with a brand that you build.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so I do want to get into some of the nutrition for kids and things like that. I want to get into that, but I also want to ask, because we all, to some extent, have to have a little bit of self-care as entrepreneurs. So what's one thing, you may not be able to do it all the time because it might be too busy, but what's one thing that you enjoy, that you try and do, you know, maybe at least once or twice a week, where it kind of gives you just a little bit of time to digress?
Yeah.
What's that for you?
For me, I try to do a walk every day. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes I'm on a call while I'm walking, sometimes the baby is on my chest asleep while I'm on the call, while I'm walking, because multitasking is a reality. But that really helps me clear my head. Like yesterday, I didn't really get my walk in, and I'm just like, oh, like I want to do that walk at least 5 days a week. It's really important to me. I used to do yoga once a week. I stopped after having the baby because I just didn't feel like my core was strong enough, but I actually did a yoga practice this weekend, and it was only 40 minutes, and I did 20 minutes on Saturday and 20 minutes on Sunday. But it made me feel so much better. It was good. It felt like I got a massage, you know, and I don't usually have the time or the funds for a massage. So this is the next best thing. And it was, I need to make that time. And then I think the one other thing I try to do is like have a dinner, you know, once a week out, whether it's with my husband or my mom or a friend, like getting out without the kids, you know, for an adult dinner after they go to bed really helps. Just something for me, you know?
I love that. And I actually try and do the same thing.
I was going to ask you, well,
100%. Well, mine, I love getting to the gym. And so even though I can't get to the gym, I do have kettlebells at home. So I do lift, even if it's for a half hour, even if it's for 15 minutes, even if I do 100 swings, whatever it is, I do try and do that at least 3-4 times
6 days a week, 5 days a week? How many?
For training, I do about four days. And I try and I take my little Chihuahua. He loves walking. So I always get out with him. And I do always one dinner a week. And again, if it's with my husband, great. If it's with a, you know, girlfriend or family member or whatever, but same thing, just to get out of the house, get out of the office, you know, and just be able to
especially if you work from home, right? Like I work from home. So there is no getting out of there are days and days where I don't leave the house, you know?
Yeah, I've been
So,
there too, for sure.
yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's nice to just be in a different scenario and be able to talk about something that's not necessarily work. I mean, there
Yeah.
could be a little bit of work talk in it, but
Yeah.
it just gives you that freedom to be able to find out how someone else is doing and just talk about your day and whatever. And so it's
Right.
always nice to have that time to be able to relax a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that's great. So let's get back, because now I want to talk about, I mean, you have a whole slew of products and I do want to get into those because the coffee was really neat. I was like, oh my gosh, there's flax oat coffee.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
but let's talk about nutrition for kiddos, right?
Yeah.
Because this is good for them too.
Yeah.
And so let's touch on that a little bit.
You know, as a mom, you are very aware of your child's bowel movements, and
Yep.
getting little kids enough fiber isn't always easy.
Right.
I'm lucky my son loves vegetables. It's like literally I have to give him like his protein and then his vegetables after, otherwise he won't eat his protein. It's really funny.
That's
But
too funny.
getting extra fiber in their diet is super important. And Malibu milk makes that really easy. So I know that my son is getting fiber, omega-3s, protein from his Malibu milk. So he has it in the form of smoothies. He has it, like this morning we had chia pudding that was made with Malibu milk. We have it in banana muffins. He'll have a glass all on its own. A lot of our customers do that. I cannot stress the importance of gut health. That's the movement of probiotics that everybody's talking about. Gut health comes from prebiotics, probiotics. Flaxseed is a naturally occurring source of prebiotics. So I love that my son is getting those prebiotics with flaxseed, and having healthy gut health.
Yeah, that's excellent. And so, I mean, I feel like a lot of people know this, but for those of you who might not, when we're talking about probiotics, that means the GI bacteria that's there, that's flourishing, that is healthy for you and building your immune system. And the prebiotic is what you can ingest to feed those good gut bacteria.
Yeah.
So both of them are so important to have, because they need, exactly, they need to exist, but they also need to have good food. So that helps us and our immune system.
Right.
And so obviously, when you were pregnant, you had some food intolerances, and that's kind of where all this came from, which is really interesting. And so let's talk about, just with regards to a lean pregnancy, making sure you're getting in the nutrients that you need, and kind of how Malibu milk might fit into some of that too. Yeah.
I was actually gluten-free, dairy-free for most of my pregnancy with my son.
Yeah.
For health reasons, I had to do that. And it was really hard because when you're pregnant, you just want like pasta and bread and I can eat all those things now, but I had to do it during my pregnancy. And like I said, it was really hard. However, I didn't gain an excess amount of weight. I stayed really lean. I gained a healthy amount of weight, but it was really easy to lose the weight. When I birthed my son, the weight practically fell off because I was really lean. I didn't put on a lot of extra fat. It was hard to put on extra fat because of the way I was eating. So I think, dairy and gluten cause inflammation. That's a reality.
That is a reality.
When you eliminate dairy and gluten, and again, like I try to keep everything in moderation now, but during my pregnancy, I did eliminate them. And I felt really good pregnant. I was walking sometimes 5 miles a day. Even very into I walked 4 miles the day I went in to deliver my son. I was still walking that, and I was 41 weeks pregnant. So I think maintaining an active lifestyle, eating as clean as you can, knowing that, it's not about being perfect, and you are going to have cravings, but as much as you can, making sure that you're having lean protein, veggies, clean sources of food. And again, Malibu milk is a dairy-free milk alternative that is vegan, that is we like to call it a whole food milk because we use the whole ground organic flaxseed. So it's a great way to, during pregnancy, like oatmeal is really nourishing. So to make an oatmeal with Malibu milk, or to make a smoothie, I've had a lot of smoothies. I'm still, having a lot of smoothies. It's another great way to just add some whole nutrition to your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about, because I want to touch on just with regards to, you've got some amazing combos of Malibu milk, right? With the oat and the flax. Let's talk about that. How did they come? How did those come about? Because obviously we're experimenting, and of course people always have feedback and, oh, can we have this, or
Yeah.
some different things. So tell us a little bit about that.
So oat milk has had quite a moment. It's very popular all over the world right now. And I know that most oats are very caloric, covered in glyphosate, aka weed killer,
Yes.
high in sugar, carbs. So I wanted to make a better oat milk. So I searched high and low for an organic oat supplier, and I found that was glyphosate free, certified glyphosate free. Glyphosate's weed killer that they spray all over oats.
I'm like, oh, I have to make sure we follow up on that when you're done your story, because people need to know what that is. Yes.
Yeah, glyphosate is all over oats and wheat crops.
Yeah.
So I found an oat supplier that was certified glyphosate free. I made them go get their organic certification in order to work with us. And we created an oat flax blend. So our oats are unsweetened. There's no oil in our oat milk. Most oat milks have oil. Oils cause inflammation. And they're blended with our flaxseed. So you're still getting some protein and some fiber, and you're getting the same sweet taste of the oats. But our oat milk is only, I think it's 45 or 50 calories a glass, compared to most oat milks that are like 150 calories a glass.
I was going to say, yeah, I've even seen some higher than that. And I think it's just because I feel like a lot of them have added sugar. Am I wrong about that?
It's the oil, it's the sugar, it's all of those things.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen them a lot higher and thought, wow, that's really high.
Really high. Exactly. So ours is really low. Ours is a much better choice for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if everyone listening or watching understands the contributing factor to some health concerns with regards to glyphosate. And I mean, I talk about that, oh my gosh, probably 5 days a week, I'm talking about glyphosate, or, other toxins that are in our foods and what have you, just with regards to the work that we do. And it really can be detrimental to your health and cause so many health issues. And so it's amazing that you were able to find someone who is, that your oats don't have that, and as well that they're of course organic. And so, yeah, that's amazing. And so I'm interested just because, okay, so we've got matcha in one of them, which I love, love, love matcha. And then we have coffee. So tell us about those combos, because I find that really interesting. Like, is it the powder that's in them? Like, what is in the matcha and what's in the coffee with regards to those two blends?
Yeah, so these are ready to drink cans. They're 8 ounces. You can take them with you on the go. They are delicious. They are loaded with inulin fiber from the blue agave plant. It's one of the cleanest forms of fiber for the gut. And we like to call them your digestion's new bestie, or the number one way to go number 2. They are gentle,
I like that one,
yet effective. We are using Japanese ceremonial grade organic matcha powder. Nice. And we are using organic coffee extract, and we are blending it with our flax oat milk. And it's this really creamy latte. It's only 60 calories, no added sugar, only 1 gram sugar per can.
Yeah.
And they're delicious and they're good for you. They're not going to give you this crash that all these other lattes will, because they're loaded with sugar and oils and artificial ingredients.
Yeah.
Ours is going to give you a little pick me up. The matcha only has 17 milligrams of caffeine, so a little lighter. The coffee has 70 milligrams of caffeine, but they're designed to make you feel your best.
That is amazing. And so you mentioned, and I always kind of pull things out of our talks, is organic coffee. We just finished talking about glyphosate and the detrimental health effects it can have. Coffee, in a lot of cases, yours is an extract, but even with beans, you have to know your coffee source, because we can have mold here and mycotoxins in coffee, right? Really, really important to make sure that you're not just buying whatever off the shelf. You make sure that you have an organic source if you're going to consume coffee, because that can contribute to mold load in your body, which could cause a lot of health issues as well. So that's really important too.
You need to buy products with ingredients that have the non-GMO label. That label is incredibly important. Organic, if and when you can. But then understand the sources of these ingredients. EWG is a nonprofit that tests all produce, and they come out with a list every year called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15.
Yeah.
And on the Dirty Dozen, almost always number one is strawberries. You do not want to eat strawberries unless they are organic.
Yeah.
On the Clean 15, you'll see things like avocados. Avocados, have that protective shell. Avocados are something you can buy conventional or organic. It doesn't really matter. So it's good to know that, like, oh, if I'm shopping for avocados, I can save a little money. I'll buy conventional because they're a clean crop. Flaxseed is a clean crop, actually. Flaxseed doesn't need to be organic. Yeah.
Okay.
But oats need to be organic. Coffee needs to be organic. So just do your homework. You need to be your own advocate so that when you're shopping the choices that you can make for your family, so that you can make responsible choices from a cost standpoint, from a health standpoint, and you can feel good about those choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think I love what you've done here with this product, and such a diverse background. I mean, so with regards to just your Michelin experience, right? We're now cooking on in Michelin. That is a huge accomplishment with regards to that, and what you could have, like, what you must have learned, and how that kind of spilled over into what you're doing.
I didn't understand it at the time because when I was working on the line at Le Bernardin, my favorite station was the saucier station, like tasting these sauces.
Yes.
And every day you make the same sauces, but you need to, every day they're going to be a little different because the butter is a little different. The shallots are a little different. The onions are a little different. And you need, you're trying to get to this right flavor, the right amount of salt, everything. And I remember one of the chefs saying, well, you're developing your palate. And I didn't understand what that meant at the time. And now I know what that means. And I think I do have a pretty good palate. It's not perfect, but I understand good flavors. And so it enabled me to create this milk in my kitchen and come up with a product that other people would also enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fantastic. And so hopped on the website because I wanted to see everything that you offered and obviously know what I'm talking about, but unsweetened, we've got vanilla, all of those things. So I'm assuming, and you can shed some light on this, that all of those flavors are organic or non-GMO, right? Natural. So that's, so tell us about those just a bit.
We don't use any natural flavors. We have four different flavors of milk. We have an unsweetened and unsweetened vanilla, a slightly sweetened, and last but not least, our flax oat. So we're using organic vanilla extract in our vanilla. The unsweetened is just very simple ingredients. It's flaxseed, Himalayan salt, and a little bit of the inulin, which is that gut prebiotic. And then in our slightly sweetened, we're using organic dates. So it's refined sugar-free. It's only sweetened with organic dates. It's delicious, low on the glycemic index, and it only has 4 grams of sugar per glass. So kids love it. Moms love it. And it's probably my personal favorite flavor at the moment.
Nice. Oh, I can't wait to try it. So one thing I want you guys to realize is we're going to have Malibu Milk on my recommends page. So make sure you head there because you can get 20% off your order. And so we'll have a promo code there. Now, I do want everyone to know that unfortunately at this point in time, we can't get it in Canada quite yet. So I'm heading to Florida in June. So I will make sure that I get mine delivered there so that I can enjoy it when I'm in Florida and bring some back with me. But so only available in the USA. But again, head there and check it out. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised and so proud. Like, you should be so proud of the work you're doing with regards to making sure that you're providing a sustainable product, the best ingredients possible for our health. And that's such an amazing accomplishment. I hope you're very proud of what you're doing.
I am. Thank you so much. Good. And we will share that code on your site, but it's also LPK20 for 20% off your first order at malibumilk.com.
Excellent. So thank you so much for joining us, Brittany. That was great. I just, again, the fact that you're doing something that is good for the environment, that's good for our health, really brings a lot to the table. So I hope you all take advantage of getting 20% off your first order with LPK20. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Give this episode a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's a brand new episode every 2 weeks. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast host, make sure you give this episode a like, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to today's show. Head over to Pitel-Killah.com to gain access to some amazing free resources that will help you gain energy, erase debilitating symptoms, and be the best version of you. Remember to give this podcast a like and follow me on social media at Lisa Pitel-Killah. I'm here every 2 weeks with a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. Until next time.